holidays. Happy New Year to everybody. It's 6:30. Our meeting actually opened at 5 o'clock this evening. We had a study session on our school discipline philosophy, the governing principles, our disciplinary matrix that was presented very capably by our Associate Superintendent, Mindy Westover. If anyone is interested, it was recorded and will be posted on our district YouTube channel. So again, I want to welcome everybody to tonight's meeting. And in a few moments, I will read the rules of order for public comment at governing board meetings. I just want to make sure I'm doing this in the right order. If you wish to make a comment, public comment remotely, you should have signed up using the Google form that's available under the YouTube live description. If you don't see the link to that form, please refresh your YouTube live stream. If you are attending in person and you wish to make a public comment, there is a purple sheet on the table at the front of the room where you signed in. Please fill out that form and hand it to our board secretary, Amy Sams. At this moment, I don't have any, but so if there was somebody in the room who was wishing to make a public comment, please go ahead and fill out that form. If there's a public hearing this evening and you wish to make a public comment during that hearing, you can sign up just prior to the meeting, or you'll have another opportunity to do when we open up that public hearing. At this moment, we will move on to the Pledge of Allegiance. Please stand and join me. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Before, I'm trying to decide if I read the rules of order for public comment now, or if we do.
We're doing the organization meeting first.
The organizational meeting first. Mm-hmm. Okay. Tonight, our order of the agenda is slightly different because on the first January meeting, there is an organizational meeting where the board elects the board president and the vice president, and that is something that has to happen right at the top of the meeting before some of the other things that we typically would do at the start of the meeting. So, in accordance with ARS 15-321, the purpose of this agenda item is to address the annual organization and election of officers. At this moment is the election of the new governing board president. I open the nominations for office of president.
I'd like to nominate Amy Kraus for president of the board.
There's no second required. Are there any other nominations?
I'd just like
Speak up, people.
I'd just like to say a few words. I have learned a lot from you over this last year. I also learned a lot watching Eileen the prior years. And I hope someday I can I'll learn more every day and emulate your good boardsmanship and exemplary conduct in conducting meetings.
Thank you. I appreciate that. Would someone like to move that nominations be closed?
I'll move that we close the nominations for president of the board.
Is there a second?
Second.
Thank you, Tom and Gina. Will a board member please make a motion?
I move that we approve Amy Kraus as president of the Catalina Foothills Unified School District number 16 governing board for the 2026 calendar year.
Is there a second?
Second.
Okay, we'll give the other one to Gina. And this one's Tom. Thank you. All those in favor, please say aye.
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 Opposed? Motion carries 5-0. Thank you all so much. I am honored
Congratulations.
to remain in my seat.
Thank you for being willing to do the
course.
presidential duty again for another year. It's a great position, but it is an additional amount of work, and it's very, very appreciated. And I would echo what Jacqueline said. You do it very, very well. It's lovely to watch.
Learn from the best. Thank you. Happy to do it. Item 3.4 on our agenda similarly, in accordance with ARS 15321, the purpose of this agenda item is to address the annual election of officers with respect to the new governing board vice president. I open the nominations for the office of vice president. Will a board member make a nomination?
I very happily nominate Tom Logue as vice president for the 2026 governing board year.
Thank you. No second is required. Are there any other nominations for the office of vice president? Hearing none, is there a motion to close the nomination?
I move that we close the nomination.
Is there a second?
Second.
Okay. Is there a motion? Oh, wait, do we have to vote?
Yes, we have to, someone has to
To
move.
close the nominations?
Oh, yeah, we have to, yeah. We were almost there.
We were so close.
So close,
Since we
yes.
made a motion, I suppose we should vote on it. This is to close the nominations for vice president. All those in favor, please say aye.
Aye. Aye.
Aye.
Aye. Opposed? Motion carries 5-0. The nominations are closed. And is there a motion now for the office of vice president?
I'll make the motion. I move the governing board approve Tom Logue as vice president of the Catalina Foothills Unified School District Number 16 governing board for the 2026 calendar year.
Thank you. Is there a second?
Second?
All those in favor, please say aye.
Aye. Aye.
Aye.
Aye. Opposed? Motion carries 5-0. Congratulations, Tom.
Yeah, I was sweating the vote a little.
You were waiting to see who was going to
Who
make
else
that
is-
second.
yeah.
You are officially the vice president, which means tonight you get to make the consent motion.
Do you want to sit here too? This is traditionally where the vice president sits.
we
We
can
usually
start that
just
the
pick
next-
up our stuff and shuffle around.
It's up to you.
That's okay. We can do
All
it
my
next time.
stuff.
We can do it next
You
time.
guys can duke out where you sit before the next meeting. How's that? Thank you very much, and thank you for your willingness to serve, Tom. I look forward to working with you more closely. Now I will read the rules of order for public comment at governing board meetings. As I said before, the governing board welcomes public comments at its meetings by providing 2 opportunities for the public to address the board. If your topic of interest is not on the agenda, you may address the board during the public comments time slot near the beginning of the meeting. Or if the topic is on the agenda, you may speak just prior to the discussion of that agenda topic. In the event there's a public hearing, the opportunity to speak will be reopened. If you're joining remotely and wish to make a public comment, you should have already submitted the Google form provided with the YouTube link. And for those attending in person, please hand that purple form to our board secretary. The information that is requested on these forms is required for our meeting minutes. Speakers will be called upon when it is their turn to address the board. For those attending remotely, you may choose to enable your camera, and as a reminder to remote attendees who wish to speak, please unmute your microphone when called upon. Each speaker has 3 minutes to address the board. The sound of a buzzer indicates the end of your 3 minutes. In the event of a large number of speakers, the board may need to limit that time so that we can conduct the business on the agenda. By law, the board cannot discuss, consider, or vote on topics that are not on the agenda. This assures our community that they are aware of the topics that will be discussed. If you wish to discuss a topic through written communication, board members' contact information can be found on the district's website. We appreciate the community's attendance and comments at this meeting. Item 3.6 on our agenda this evening is a fan favorite. That is our outstanding achievements, and for that, we turn to our superintendent, Dr. Denise Bartlett.
Thank you. I'm pleased to highlight several achievements a couple that have been on the board packet, but a couple of new ones that came in. So I have some surprises for you. Our first one is that each year our counseling department recognizes sophomore students for the HOBE, which is the Hugh O'Brien Youth Leadership Seminar. It's dedicated to training and nurturing young leaders, empowering them to explore their potential and develop into effective leaders in their home, school, and workplace. And this year, we're nominating 7 outstanding sophomores who will represent our CFHS this summer at the HOBE Leadership Seminar. I'm not going to read all of their names, but their names will be published in our border tomorrow. So we congratulate all of those students who will be representing our high school this summer at that leadership seminar. Another high school achievement, Thomas Vamos, a senior at the high school, has been named a Flynn Scholarship finalist, which is exciting. He's one of only 79 students statewide from out of about 1,150 students who were nominated or who submitted applications. It's a very prestigious award, as you know, and it comes with a scholarship that's valued at more than $135,000. So it includes funding for international study, mentorship, and a membership in a community of high-achieving peers across the state. So that's a very wonderful opportunity. He will participate in virtual interviews later in January, and then approximately half of those will go on to the finalists. So we're crossing our fingers that our student will get into that. Esparro Canyon Middle School, 21 of our choir students who auditioned and they were selected to participate in the American Choral Directors Association statewide Cantaremos Honors Choir.
Oh.
Yes, so again, there's 21 students who will be named in our board. I'm not going to list all their names, but the rehearsals and performances took place at Central High School in Phoenix in November under the direction of Julia Higgins, who has been a long-time director at our Esparro Canyon for our choir. She does a phenomenal job with those students. So,
Extremely.
the 2
excellent.
surprise ones that I have is we have Bernadette Moreno, who was honored. She's a chemistry teacher at the high school. She was selected for the 3rd cohort of the ASU Impact Corps. So it's by the Helios Center for Educational Excellence. She identified Ms. Moreno as one of the only 8 teachers statewide from just 7 high schools across Arizona whose instructional practices are directly linked to exceptional student outcomes in college-level STEM courses.
Love
Yeah, so it was the selection criteria focused on high rates of A's and B's earned at the university level, students distributed across all 3 border regions universities, including ASU, U of A, and NAU. And so she will serve as a mentor to educators across Arizona, and she participates in statewide events and shares her instructional practices and curriculum strategies with others. So really, if she was they published it in a magazine too, so it's really quite an honor for her. And finally, it's only fitting, because we have some of our Valley View teachers here and their principal, that our Valley View Early Learning Center earned a 5-star rating from Quality First. It has been coveted. They've always been a 4-star rating, and we have coveted the 5-star, and they finally did it.
Congratulations.
So it just means that they meet the highest standards in early childhood education, a distinction held by only the most exemplary programs statewide. So this is a community effort with parents, teachers, staff, the administrator. It's a really big honor for them. So we congratulate you because they show up every day with professionalism, heart, and are immensely proud of the work they do with children. So thank you. And that's the 2 surprises.
Thank you so much. Fantastic. You know, it's actually a nice segue, all these outstanding achievements, to link to the next agenda item, which is 3.7, the CFSD Foundation Semi-Annual Gift to the District, because without, I think it's fair to say that without the support of the foundation, which is of course made up of members of our community, it's a really big part of why our teachers can do what they do and what they can give to their students, and then how our students reflect that back. And we'll see that in the Deep Learning Showcase in a moment. But for now, I would ask Amy Morales-Baum to please come up and for Board Member Tom Logue to join her as we gratefully receive and acknowledge the Foundation's semi-annual gift.
However you want to do it. Okay. Good evening, Chair Kraus. Okay, I put a blank because I didn't know where we were going. Okay. Members of the board, district staff, and community members. For those who don't know me, my name is Amy Morales-Baum, and I have the honor of serving as the Catalina Foothills School District Foundation president. During my day job I'm actually the regional director for First Things First, which runs the Quality First programs, and we provide all the funding for that. So I can testify that that truly is a huge accomplishment and really commend everyone in those efforts. It's once again my honor and privilege to present the CFSD Foundation's semi-annual check to the Catalina Foothills School District. Tonight's check is in the amount of $45,000. This check represents an entire community. Our CFSD Foundation board grew from 8 members last year to 18 members this year, all of who are parents or dedicated members of our community. They give back their time and energy because their children receive an incredible education here at CFSD. I want to thank our business sponsors, Arizona Pest Control, TCI Wealth Management, Millennium Wealth, Pro Cleaners, and our copper sponsors, Dr. Katie Hicks and Deborah Bourne with Southwest Shoulder, Elbow, and Hand Center. Their partnership helps to ensure that these funds are available. In addition to the many who have supported us through our events, particularly our November Tapas for Teachers event, where we raised over $42,000, almost double last year's funds from the year before. We raised $18,000 alone in silent auction funds, which is made of donations that come from across our community. I want to personally thank our dedicated board members, those who are not here tonight, but who represent such a great, just an incredible group of people who really, truly care about our educators, our students, and the entire success of the district. And I want to thank our governing board for your support, and Dr. Bartlett and Julie Farberg for your ongoing support. These dollars ensure that educators have what they need to thrive in the classroom. These dollars allow educators to grow in their practice through professional development, and most importantly, they ensure that our students continue to receive the highest quality education, because everyone here knows that excellent teachers are the single most important factor in their success. As I close, I invite you to join us at the annual Teacher of the Year event, where we will celebrate distinguished educators of the district, which is set for May 3rd at Hacienda del Sol. Thank you, as always, for the opportunity to partner in the education of all CFSD students, including my children, and for allowing us to be a part of this incredible community.
Thank you.
All right, next time we need to coordinate speeches first, because my comments, we would not be the district we are today. A district with all A-rated schools and with students who excel at academics, athletics, and the arts, were it not for our amazing teachers. And one of the reasons we have these amazing teachers and keep these amazing teachers is the CFSD Foundation. This gift is significant for 3 reasons. First, it is the fruit of so much labor. Foundation board members give so much of themselves, so many hours spent planning and putting on events like Tapas for Teachers and Teacher of the Year in fulfillment of the Foundation's mission. The dedication of these board members is truly remarkable, so thank you. This is also an endorsement from our community, from individual contributions by parents, grandparents, and community members, to donated items for the Tapas silent auction, to business sponsorships. This gift is the accumulation of so much goodwill from our community. And finally, this is a demonstration of our district's dedication to our teachers. Those of you who are familiar with the foundation know that these funds underwrite the Great Beginnings program, an initiative that supports new teachers and new to CFSD teachers with support, mentorship, and professional development. Because the first 3 years of a teacher's career are make or break when it comes to staying in the profession, the Great Beginnings helps us retain the talented teachers that make our district such a wonderful place for students and their families. We are so grateful to the foundation, its board, all of the individuals involved in these efforts, and all of the community support that is represented in this gift to the district. Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you both so much. And like I said, this is another perfect segue into our next agenda item, which highlights the fabulous teaching and learning that's going on at Valley View. And that is item 3.8. This is our Deep Learning Showcase, a celebration of quality teaching. And it focuses on growing gratitude at Valley View Early Learning Center. This is a Foothills film production, and I'm going to scoot over.
Learning Center, pre-K students are discovering that even the smallest hands can make a big difference. Through a garden they tend together and daily practices of gratitude and kindness, these young learners are connecting to nature, to each other, and to the power they have to care for the world around them.
A child's world is changing. We live in a world that is so fast-paced, and I feel like teaching gratitude to young children is a practice that is proven to help with anxiety. And in such a fast-paced world, it's that daily practice remembering to take a moment to slow down, to think about gratitude has proven to make a difference in young children's lives. 11, 12, 13.
This innovative multi-classroom project ties into their year-long social emotional learning plan. As part of the Slumber Kids Gifts All Around Us unit, students from 4 classes are learning environmental stewardship through hands-on experience. The Honeybear curriculum is all about gratitude for the things that nature gives us. In their shared vegetable garden, students have planted seeds like carrots and green beans. Each day they water their plants and they're observing how they're growing, taking real responsibility for the life they're nurturing.
What do the leaves do for your plant? They help it feed itself and let them water to make it grow and love. We can quietly talk to them.
And what do you say to plants when you talk to them?
You can say anything you want. I would say, I'm a bigger complete bee.
The project uses an inquiry-based learning approach. Students compare native seeds with store-bought varieties.
We're doing a guess, and we all know which ones we think will work better. And then we do our research, which is the stage where we're letting it grow, and then we come back and look at the results, and then we look at our conclusion and compare our guess versus what actually happened, and then see if we were right. We always say, if you got it right, piece your brain. If you didn't get it right, stay confident, so we do.
Inside the classroom, the learning expands. Pretend farmers market and vegetable garden gives students opportunity to role play, practice counting and sorting, and explore where food comes from, connecting classroom concepts to real-world experiences. But Honeybear's role goes beyond gardening. She's also a gentle guide for social emotional learning. Some days, a magical mailbox appears, delivering simple caring tasks, concrete, age-appropriate ways for students to practice empathy and help others.
Let's read the mail. I need Honeybear to help me explain this new bear friend who's here. Let's read our mail. Here we go. It says, Dear Hair Club, there are kittens all around. Not all kittens come in boxes.
gratitude. We thank our Foothills film director, Julie Fairbarrick, who's in the back. But present with us today, we have, it's not really principal, it's director, right?
Principal.
It is principal? Okay, sorry. And Dooley, can you please, stand up and tell us who's here with you. Of course, we do recognize some of you. And we'd love to see the kids, but we understand it's a little late for these little ones
Bath
today.
time and dinner time.
Yeah,
Yes.
bath time and dinner time
Yes.
at this time. But today we have Miss Leah and Miss Amy with us, teachers that were highlighted in the video there. And they can speak a lot more to
Yeah.
how the unit evolved, but really came around a new Slumberkins curriculum that we're working with this year on social emotional learning, and the Honey Bear character that was used in that work, and they really took it kind of to a new level and taking this lesson of gratitude out into nature and really working. They're outside. 4 classes are outside together at the same time, and Amy and Leah's class are 2 of the classes are out there. So really collaborated on this project during their outside time together. So
Come forward.
come forward.
Come on up. And I would invite any board members if you have questions or comments, and you're welcome to share anything you'd like, but we may have some follow-up questions for you as well. Don't be shy.
You want to tell us anything about how you collaborated to come up with the expansion of the program?
Well, it started with the CIT work that we have been doing as our school, and as school we decided we actually work together, all of our teachers. We have 12 teachers currently, and so we decided we're working on respect within the school and with the students. So respect for themselves, respect for each other, respect for teachers, and respect for materials. So within that, we've been trying to figure out, it's a very broad category that's hard to take data and information, but we decided to incorporate the Slumberkins curriculum, which they have different stuffed animals, and each stuffed animal kind of has an idea or something that it works on that we can use with the children. It's a very child-friendly aspect. One of them is like mindfulness. One of them, Honey Bear, is being thankful. What are some of the other ones? There's even like learning routines with sloth and
stress relief and
lots of big things. Even like thinking through problem solving, thinking through like name calling and how your words matter so much to what you say and to those around you. So it's really kind of these bigger concepts, and it breaks them down individually so we can kind of work on those concepts with our little ones. So with Honey Bear, it was around Thanksgiving time, and we had decided we have this beautiful garden, which we're so thankful for, and so we kind of asked a lot of teachers if we could. Every teacher has a plot, but we kind of wanted to use a lot of the plots, and so there's 4 of us, and we each took different vegetables and planted them, and it was fun because we have this whole hour outside, and all of the kids could come in at any time and help plant and work together.
and it was kind of out of necessity because I knew that there was no way that I was going to be able to maintain even one garden plot without help.
Right.
So I made sure that I recruited at least all the teachers that were outside with me in the best way that I knew how to come in on this project that I really wanted to do, to be part of it with me so that I would ensure that it was successful. And I have been to SARSEF before with my class 2 years so far, and it's been really successful and really fun, and I knew that I wanted to wrangle them in to go with me because it's a really fun activity in the community, and I wanted more of the kids to be involved and more teachers to go and get into it. And so I figured out a way to sort of make this gratitude unit, which also includes the gifts of nature part in there, being grateful for nature. And when we're outside, that's a really big part of what we're talking about with our kids, is being a protector of nature, helping them understand how we can do that when we're outside and on our playground. So bringing in that big idea under that umbrella, by opening up the garden and making it a purposeful place, because in the 5 years that I've been here, we haven't had like the whole entire garden going at any one time. It's only been one teacher at a time. So making it a real collaborative project has been just like something that I've really wanted to do. So I knew I needed to get everybody that I was outside on the playground with into it. And by making it a SARSEF project, I thought that that would be a really great way to get everybody in on it. And then the additional carrot of getting the FFO to pay for garden covers.
Yeah.
That was a really, really good way to do it, because then that ensures that the bunnies aren't going to eat all of our carrots. And it wasn't just one person being in charge of everything. We really collaborated. So it was dividing up all the work. And so it's going to be really fun. We're going to put the work in and go to SARSEF this year, and I hope that we're really successful. But it's one of those things that, you know, many hands make light work. So I'm really grateful for all four of the teachers, or all three of us really, being willing to, you know, be part of my madness and just allow me to run away with these ideas.
Have questions?
I do. Do you?
I do too.
Okay.
Well, I am an avid gardener.
Oh, great.
I
So
love
come
it.
anytime. We're outside.
Yeah, see a volunteer
I
opportunity.
was actually looking at my bell peppers today, trying to determine if it was time to trim them or cut them off or not. So what, sharing the fruit, the bounty of the fruit really resonated with me, because it's something that brings me personally intense joy to grow things from seed and watch them mature and grow, and then use that in my cooking. And my goal is to be as self-sufficient as possible with my produce. Not sure I can get there in Tucson, but I'm trying. So I really appreciate the families coming in and the children being able to share the bounty, and just the immense sense of satisfaction that you can get from doing that is wonderful. And on that note, I'm curious to know, besides carrots, what are we growing in the garden?
Well, we have some snap peas, we have radish, we have cucumbers, we are trying wheat. We're not sure if it's really wheat at this point.
A lot of areas.
It's
too.
kind of going in a lot of places. We also have some kale. Beets. We have beets.
Yeah. Oh, I did
garbanzo beans. Yeah.
I'm like going through plot by plot.
Yeah.
I think that might be.
And we also have another teacher who's not outside with us right now, who's growing some really successful Chinese onions, some mint, and we also have beans growing. But we also, there's also a separate purpose for our garden, is to maintain some constantly leafy stuff that we can make cuttings of for our mud kitchen. Because we're always telling our students to not pull the leaves off of our trees. So we've got a very healthy rosemary bush that's growing in our garden to be able to go and pull cuttings off of for our mud kitchen. That's really fun for us too. But yeah, and I did have my kids, we got those vegetables from the grocery store because ours weren't ready to harvest quite yet. But I actually did have the kids cutting and preparing an actual salad, and they were like, man, this is hard. And I'm like, yeah, now don't you think it's so amazing that your grown-ups prepare all of your meals? They must love you so much. Yeah, and they were really astonished at how much work it takes to actually prepare food for someone, and they just they lit up when their parents were telling them how delicious the salad was and everything.
Yeah.
Thank you.
So you mentioned the inquiry-based component to this, and I'm curious what the outcome of that was, as far as which seeds performed better.
So we have had to choose one variable. We were looking at two, but now as we go forward to SARSF, we've decided to just look at the one variable in terms of how many individual plants have sprouted, so that the kids have counted how many plants have sprouted in terms of, you know, we divided the plots in two. So right now it looks like the native seeds are sprouting more plants. But we have been giving the kids a chance to actually measure the size of the plants too. And in some cases, in some of the plants, the store-bought plants are growing bigger.
They're taller, like the
Taller.
beets. Beets looked like they were huge and everywhere, but there were less plants.
There were
just were
fewer.
growing. They were flourishing more, but then when we counted actual seedlings, we had more Arizona beets than store-bought beets.
But that's only for the beets. For the rest
Everything
of the
else,
plants,
yeah,
it seems
Arizona.
like the native seeds are doing better. More plants and bigger plants.
And we went to the Pima Library. You're not familiar with
Yeah.
their seed library,
Yes.
which I learned about through this process. Is very, very cool. You can even like request them from other libraries and they'll send it to your nearby library. So it is very cool. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, so that was fun. We've learned a lot, and yeah, I think it's
Yeah.
just the kids. We have this positive peer pressure kind of thing too, and it's like, you know, your buddies eating the broccoli that we serve at school, or, you know, being a part of growing makes them appreciate it more, which they try new things because their parents are like, wait, they never ate that. And it's like, now they do.
Yeah.
So even today we had colorful carrots. Like, I don't know if you've tried colorful carrots, but the kids were comparing which ones they like best, and so it's
And
fun.
even before we decided what to plant in the garden, we had a little tasting party where the kids got to try some of the different veggies that we might be able to plant in our garden based on the time of year. We would be able to plant at the time of year. So we gave them little pieces of this and that. So, and then they voted on what they would want to try to plant, and each class did that before we. And of course, we tried to find out what was available in the seed library before we gave them choices. So we couldn't just be like, no, sorry, we don't have that. But yeah,
certain times of the
yeah.
year.
So they had to have an open mind too and try everything, and they were really excited about it.
Pretty amazing they wanted to grow radishes. I mean, it's not necessarily appealing to the palate of
Well, we
little
did give them
children.
ranch dressing. I know, right? They were good
They're
radishes.
fun
though.
because it's like bright red. You
Well,
can
I
see
love them, but
growing.
you
Yeah.
just think little kids and radishes don't generally go together, so that's kind of fun.
Yeah.
Expanding their palates.
Yeah, I'm just really sad that we didn't pick arugula.
What's that?
No,
Arugula.
we didn't pick arugula.
Arugula,
That one was
that's
voted
also
off
very
the island.
spicy.
Yeah.
I also wanted to just, compliment the integration of social emotional learning and,
Yep.
recognizing that there's proven benefits to intentional gratitude. And the neuroscience really proves out the benefits of that at every age. And I'm curious, as you're developing other parts of the curriculum, are there other areas of SEL that are some of your favorites that you like to, boost every year?
Oh yeah, absolutely.
Yeah, there's so much.
There's so much. This year, one of my favorites that we've learned through our new Slumberkins curriculum is one that we learned through Alpaca, which is he has a little backpack, and we came up with this through CIT. He is a character that kids use for stress relief, like talking about their anxieties. And we came up with the idea to give him a little backpack, and he will carry your anxiety. So you can go to him and tell him your worries, essentially, and he'll carry them for you. So if you're a little bit stressed out or you're worried about something, you can go and get Alpaca, and you can essentially tell him your worries, and he'll carry them in his little backpack, so you don't have to worry about it anymore. And it just sort of takes the stress off of the kids. And my son, I had to give my son this Alpaca, and he already had it actually, but I had to give his Alpaca a backpack because we came up with this idea in CIT, and so that by far is one of my other favorites. That seems to really work for some kids who are just those kids who tend to worry about the what ifs. That they just can't function until they get those answers or they get those worries out of their brain, and it seems to really, really work for them.
we made little worry dolls. We read the book
I was
Silly
gonna say,
Billy,
I'm
so they
reminiscent
made
of
little
worry
dolls that they can like tell their worries to. And so sent
They
those
were
home
really
as well.
cute and
Yeah.
creative. You made them out of like clothespins.
clothespins.
I walked into her classroom when they were making them.
They're
That's
very
cute.
sweet. Yeah. This age is, well, all ages are very important, but I think that we always
Well, my
say-
son is 11, and the worry backpack
still
works
works
for
but
him.
I think that we are fortunate in the 3 to 5 year old age because we can take so much of this time to work on their social and emotional well-being because we know how important it is as a foundation for their future learning, that none of that academic pieces will come into place without this strong foundation, whether it's advocating for themselves. Listening to each other is just a tricky skill, and to be able to listen to each other and change what you feel or think or want because your friends, you're being empathetic towards your other peers. So just all of these skills, and I always just say it's like this beautiful, that would you, in my opinion, it's this beautiful bubble of this early childhood learning that we just try to give them so much. So, we're thankful for everything that you guys do to help us to be successful for all of our young learners, and we always want them to come back and be like, it's like that show.
Yes,
It's like
we want to be part of the Falcon Flyout.
Right?
Yes.
How did they
We
do
do.
and grow up and so.
Just putting that out.
Well, we really appreciate
Noted.
everything that you do, that the foundation does to help support you so that you can pass this on to, and our FFOs. It's really everybody in the system, but as Amy so eloquently said, it really lands on your doorstep. You're the ones who have the direct connection with the students, and you do a beautiful job. And we greatly appreciate what you do in the classroom, and that you're here on an evening on a school night. So thank you for being here.
Yes,
And thank you for all that you do.
having us and for highlighting our school. We do.
And I
appreciate
just
it.
want to say an extra special thank you to Julie because, look out, David Attenborough. Sorry about it, but that was just a beautiful and eloquent way to put together that video, and I'm just ever so grateful for it.
I just learned to have my camera ready because you and I were talking, and this is so good. I'm just going to start. It wasn't even an interview, and there was so much good stuff that we saw that we could.
Right.
I'm
You
sure.
could do like 40 minute
Outtakes.
video.
Well, let me take a quick.
Oh,
Yeah.
Before we wrap it up.
And the video will be posted on the district's website, won't
It
it?
will be
Yeah.
posted on, yes.
So for those of you who may be watching now or at a later time, go on the district's website to see what we just saw, which is fantastic.
And congratulations,
Thank
this
you
work is
again
why you're
so
a
much.
5-star.
Yes, wonderful.
This is the work that gets you the 5 stars.
Thank you.
Thank you all. The next item on our agenda is our public comment time. However, I did not receive any purple sheets up here, and I don't have any online either. So, no public comments this evening. Which then brings us to our consent agenda, which is items 5.1 through 5.11. Is there any item that a board member would like to pull
I'd
for
like
further
to
discussion?
pull
Sorry.
5.9, I'm sorry, Amy.
That's
I'll do
okay.
5.9.
5.9,
And I would like to pull 5.8.
5.8. Jacqueline?
Oh, no.
Tina? Okay. So with the exception of 5.8 and 5.9, which have been pulled for further discussion, will you please make a motion?
Now my privilege, eh?
It is.
Right. I move that the governing board approve consent agenda items. 5.1, the governing board December 9th, 2025 regular meeting minutes as presented. 5.2, the governing board December 9th, 2025 executive session meeting minutes as presented. 5.3, the expense voucher memorandum as presented. 5.4, the field trip request memorandum as presented. 5.5, the fundraising request memorandum as presented. 5.6, the personnel memorandum as presented. 5.7, the acceptance with gratitude of the gifts and donations memorandum as presented. 5.10, the terms and conditions for the acceptance of monies from the School Facilities Building Renewal Grant Fund for BRG project number BRG-007912 for design and construction for the replacement of 2 hot water heating boilers at Catalina Foothills High School in the estimated amount of $528,000 as presented. And 5.11, the terms and conditions for the acceptance of monies from the School Facilities Building Renewal Grant Fund for BRG project number BRG-007914 for the replacement of an air conditioning unit at Esperero Canyon Middle School in the estimated amount of $41,000 as presented.
Thank you. Is there a second as to those consent agenda items just read?
I'll second.
Thank you. There's been a motion and a second. All those in favor, please say aye.
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 Opposed? Motion carries 5-0. Tom, you pulled 5.8.
Yes, I pulled 5.8. I took a little trip down memory lane and looked back at our Orange Grove track replacement. And it was, this is a slightly larger amount, and I'd asked to get a little bit of clarity for why that amount was greater.
Sure. So there's several reasons. One, in the Esperero project, we're going to include some temporary fencing that was not included in the Orange Grove project. We learned from that project that accessing the field was going to be important, and who accesses the field, so some temporary fencing was going to go up. Additional fill material is needed for the Esperero track. One, because we're going from a 9-lane track to an 8-lane track. So there's extra fill material, yes. And then there's just equipment and labor costs that have increased. So they're similar projects, but the 2 middle schools had different tracks. And so we're trying to make them consistent.
What was the timing? When was the Orange Grove track?
That was done last summer,
So it was just a year ago.
just a year ago.
And what's the difference in the cost?
15,000,
Oh, nothing.
not too much.
And I will give compliments. I'm myself a user of the Orange Grove track. I see others use it on the weekends. It is very well done. So I'm happy to see them back to do Espereros.
Yes, and something we're going to add to the Esperero track is a ramada, so covered seating.
Oh, nice.
Oh, that's
Some covered-
great.
They don't have any, we had to take out a tree because it was, the roots were going under the track, so so there was no shade. So we're going to put a ramada with some covered seating.
Permanent.
Permanent
Nice.
for that track. It's used
Yeah.
a lot.
Are there any other questions about item 5.8? Okay. Then I will entertain a motion on that one.
Will the motion. I move the governing board approve the award to GA Sports Construction for the track replacement at Esperero Canyon Middle School in the amount of $654,454.54 as presented.
Thank you. Is there a second?
A second.
There's been a motion and a second to approve item 5.8. All those in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
Aye. Opposed? Motion carries 5-0. And Eileen, you pulled 5.9.
Yeah, I was just wondering if you can speak a little bit to the reason for the need for the change order on the re-roofing project at Canyon View Elementary.
Yes, so with schools facility division projects, you submit these projects early, but they're not awarded. But once, or the funds are not awarded. You may be awarded the project, but not the funds. So once we are awarded the project, we begin a design phase.
Oh.
So unfortunately, the design phase and the proposal expired before they awarded the funds. So this is the increased cost for that.
And I think you may have mentioned, when we had an email conversation about this as well, that there may be some other ones coming down the pike in the same category.
Yes, whenever, if the award doesn't come quickly, the awarding of the dollars come quickly after the awarding of the project,
Yeah.
then there's change orders that need to be happened. And that's how School Facilities Board wants us to do it. We have to submit it for the original award and then submit a change order for the additional.
So sorry, I wasn't quite clear. So is the change order that you had to redo the design?
No.
Or, no, this is for the change in the cost in between because of
Yes,
the
the
time,
change.
the delay.
Yes, right.
Oh.
Does School Facilities Board ever not award the amount of the change order?
No.
Once the project's been awarded, they're going to pay for what it ends up
Correct.
costing, but we have to do it in this 2 or 3 step process.
Correct.
Got it.
Gotcha.
Thank you. Any other questions about 5.9? Okay, a motion.
Becca?
All right. I move the governing board approve the School Facilities Division award to Progressive Roofing for change order 1 for additional materials for the re-roofing project at Canyon View Elementary School in the amount of $117,703.82 as presented.
Thank you. Is there a second?
Oh, I'll second.
There's been a motion and a second to approve agenda item 5.9. All those in favor, please say aye.
Aye. Aye.
Aye.
Aye. Opposed? Motion carries 5-0. Okay. For new business this evening, we are at agenda item 6.1. This new business is consideration to revisions to high school courses and programs for the 2026-2027 school year. This is a first reading, and our Executive Director of Curriculum and Assessment, Cheryl Castro, is already rearranging the furniture.
We had a little problem with our podium.
Yeah, it was.
So we had to take the wheels off.
I did have wheels.
We're waiting for a part to come
Yes.
in.
The wheels are
It should be
coming
here
off the
before the
podium.
next board meeting.
Okay. Well, thank you.
The wheels
Welcome.
literally are
Thank
falling
you.
off.
Happy 2026, everyone.
Thank you.
It's nice to see all of you again. So tonight we will be proposing revisions to the high school courses and programs for the 2026-2027 school year. I'll pause briefly after each item if you have questions. Otherwise, you can wait till the end, whatever you'd like to do. So the first change that's proposed is to the Academic Recognition Awards. You'll recall that we brought this one last year, and it had previously stated that the semesters would be averaged to determine eligibility, and they realized that this wasn't going to work out, and so they'd like to propose at the high school that a student must earn the required GPA in both semesters, which would mean a 4.0 or above for silver, or a 3.75 to 3.99 for blue in order to be eligible for the award. And it was simply because mathematically it was just more fair to do it that way rather than to have it represented consistent performance over time.
Unweighted or weighted GPA?
I think it's unweighted GPA, but I'll
Would have
ask
to
and I'll
be.
bring that back.
Why would it have to?
Well, I'm just 4.0 or higher.
I'm saying it
I know.
seems like it would have to
Have to
be
be
just
weighted.
because the highest number here is,
Oh, right.
I think, but maybe
Yeah.
I'm thinking about it wrong.
Yeah, I think it's unweighted, otherwise it would have been beyond the 4, but I'll double check and get back to you at the next.
So for each semester, they have to
Yes.
meet the requirement.
Mhm.
Okay, that seems fair.
The next proposed revision is for the peer classroom mentor. Students with a GPA of 2.0 or higher may enroll as peer classroom mentors. Previously or currently, students with a GPA of 2.5 or higher are required for this role. And we did have a few questions about this one, so I'm just going to read the questions off that the board members asked, and I'll give you the responses that we talked about between the high school staff and me. So first one was, what's the reason for lowering the GPA for participation in the mentor program? And the real reason is that we have some seniors who would be very capable of mentoring in specific classrooms, but they don't meet the GPA. So for example, you might have a student who excels in graphic design, but because of a few low grades in another area where the student doesn't want to mentor, it would prohibit that student from mentoring. And so what they want to do is to open up placement based on students' individual strengths and skill sets, and they wanted to emphasize that students are never assigned to classrooms in content areas where they have previously struggled, but they're placed in classrooms where they can feel confident and they can be leaders and they can help their peers. The second question that was asked about this one is, are we having difficulty finding mentors, and is that the reason that we've lowered the GPA requirement? No, we don't have much difficulty identifying mentors. In the 25-26 school year, 346 seniors participated as mentors. And that sounds like a lot. It's either in first and or second semester. It does sound like a lot, but you have to remember that each teacher teaches 6 classes. Potentially they could have 6 different mentors in each of those times all of the classrooms that are in campus. So it is a good number of students who've chosen to participate as mentors. And some of that 346 counts a student twice. And so if they served as a peer mentor in first semester and in second semester, they're counted twice in that number.
Can I ask a question about that? Does that number, I mean, I know you said it's not quite as high as it may sound, but it's still a good number of, and you're talking about seniors. So does this tie into the 6 class requirement in that, you know, seniors have to fill 6 classes? So other options, I mean, are they choosing mentorship? Does that seem to be like a more higher choice, a prioritized choice, or are there other classes, like, is it perceived as maybe being easier than taking steel drums or whatever? I don't know.
I talked to Randy Collier about this today, and she said oftentimes what happens is you have a student who's taken almost every course they can take. So ceramics, for example, you'll have a student who completes ceramics 1 and ceramics 2, or you might have a student who's taken all the PEs and they don't want to repeat a PE, and so they're choosing to do a peer mentorship. She does say that she wishes we had more semester classes available to place seniors. But she said the requested adjustment to the prereq is intended to better align with student interest and strengths, to expand mentorship opportunities. It's not to address a shortage of mentors.
And I could see why serving as a peer mentor is also valuable, that it's not just, you know, passing the time or.
No, providing leadership.
Providing leadership,
It
show
gives
your
them a
expertise.
leadership opportunity.
So that segues beautifully into the third question that was asked, which is, do you think mentorship will enhance the mentor's academic performance as well? And we found that yes, one of the reasons that they decided to create the peer mentorship option was that research and practice, I'm going to read directly from what Randy gave me. So research and practice consistently show that mentorship benefits the mentor as well as the mentee. Serving as a peer classroom mentor strengthens students' self-confidence, sense of purpose, and responsibility, all of which are closely linked to academic engagement and persistence. And mentors reinforce their own learning by explaining concepts to others. They develop their communication skills, especially their peer-to-peer communication skills, and they experience increased self-worth by contributing meaningfully to the school community. And because the mentors must be on track for graduations, that's the other one of the prerequisites besides the 2.0 requirement that we're looking for. The course also supports sustained academic accountability and positive academic habits throughout their senior year. So they're asking to go from a 2.5 to a 2.0. Are there any other questions about the peer mentor? Sure. Yes, they get a 0.5 credit for a semester. That's what I was trying to explain with point one, which is that students are based in the classrooms on their skill set. And so we wouldn't put a student in a class as a mentor if they had failed a class or earned a low grade in a class. It's students who are capable of helping others in a class in which they excelled and are probably pretty passionate about.
So we're in charge of the placement.
Yes, the student can't just choose a placement. They can talk to teachers and say, hey, I'm interested in mentoring in your classroom. Would you agree to approve me as your mentor if I go and talk to my counselor about adding this course? There has to be some communication there. It's not just that they have this list and then the counselors are handing them out. There has to be some communication with the teacher and the mentor. Even before we had peer mentors, this class, when it wasn't given as a credit way back in the day, we had to do it that way. They talked to their counselors, then they would come and decide that, hey, Senora Castro, could I work in your classroom as a peer mentor? We didn't call it that, an aide. Back then it was a TA.
Or is there some sort of threshold that is in place to her point that is whatever class you are placed in, you have to demonstrate a certain degree of proficiency?
We don't have that written into the handbook. But the teachers and the I know students from the past who, because of whatever circumstances, even in Spanish, I've had TAs in my Spanish class before who maybe didn't earn an A+ in Spanish, but they were an excellent peer mentor because of a variety of things that happened. Maybe they earned a B-, but they were still a really great mentor. And they talked with me before they joined my classroom to help the students in my class. So I'm not sure that making them, I like the idea of saying the student is going to be assigned based on their unique skill set and in their interest area. I would hesitate to say, well, a 2.0 GPA, but they have to earn at least a B+ in the class in which they're mentoring. I'm not sure that would be the way that we would want to go. It seems a little bit too, I don't use this word often, but draconian. It seems a little bit too mandated for kids at the high school level, where a lot of things could interfere with a grade that a student might earn. But we do know what a student can do. A teacher, when the teachers talk to me about their peer mentors, they're really excited to have these kids in their room because they know what they can do. They know what their skill set. They're not going to accept them into their classroom if they don't think that they can actually fulfill the responsibilities of being a peer mentor in that classroom. So I understand your point about wanting to put another requirement on the ones who have a 2.0. I'm not sure that's necessary because of the selection process, the way that it works. I could talk to the counselors. Below a 2 or below a 2.5?
Below the 2.8.
Yes. I'm a bad person to ask about that because letter grades mean nothing to me. And I know that I'm in the minority, but a 2 to me means you're approaching. That means you had some classes where you had a higher grade and some classes where you might have had a lower grade, or maybe you were just 2 across the board for some reason, but you show a certain skill set in a particular class that makes you attractive to a teacher who needs a peer mentor in their classroom. I can take it back to the counseling team and to the administrators and ask them about imposing some sort of special, a limit. We would have to do that for the kids who have a 2.5 GPA too.
I think I mean, I understand where Gina's coming from, and I think what might be helpful is just like you have the course description updates on below on Spanish 1 and Spanish 2. If we could see the description, I think it might be helpful of the peer mentor course, because I think maybe if we see the way that it's worded, that maybe that might answer Gina's concerns about, maybe, because it's not necessarily maybe.
You want me to read it to you?
Yeah.
And then I'll put it in the next memo.
Yeah.
I'll use my best reading voice. This peer classroom mentor course is designed for seniors who want to obtain hands-on leadership, communication, and relationship building skills by mentoring students in the classroom environment. Peer classroom mentors will be given tasks including but not limited to assisting the teacher with classroom preparations, reinforcing instructional material with individual students or in small groups, and guiding students with note-taking and study techniques. Peer mentors are required to attend their assigned classroom on a daily basis and model the characteristics of a positive, productive member of the classroom community. They will check in weekly with the classroom teacher about their goals and accomplishments related to the course competencies. Peer classroom mentors are expected to participate in a training session prior to the start of the semester. Placement will be determined by student interest and teacher needs. And then it lists the prereqs on the side of the student must be on track to graduation and have it says 2.5 GPA or higher, and then 2.0 GPA or higher. Updated prerequisite is pending board approval for 0.5 credit.
Have we ever had a student apply to be a peer mentor that we declined to place as
That's
a
a
peer
good
mentor?
question. I'll ask that.
Because if we're responsible for placing them in an appropriate placement and such appropriate placement doesn't exist, do we simply tell that student they're not getting their choice of the peer mentorship class? Because that would also perhaps assuage some of the concerns
That's a good question. I'll ask that.
that a student might get placed inappropriately.
Okay, so for
curious.
next time around, I'll include the course description in the memo. I'll talk to the counselors and the admin about applications that might have been denied, and then I'll talk to them about needing perhaps a cutoff, a grade cutoff, and
Like
what.
a 2.5 in the class or subject matter where they are in the classroom serving as a mentor, in combination with a lowered threshold or requirement for their overall GPA. So basically demonstrating additional proficiency for the class they're placed in.
I don't, personally, I don't have a problem with the reduction in the 2.0 based on everything else you said, but I thought you, and I didn't hear it in the description, but I thought in the conversation with us, you used a phrase, and used it a couple times, specialized skills or unique something. Do you know what I'm saying? And I didn't hear that.
Based on their unique skills, yeah.
So to me, if something like that appeared in the qualifications, students will be placed based on their unique skills or, something like that, then to me, I like the idea of having greater flexibility. I trust that our teachers and counselors and administrators know the students and know their skill sets and can make an appropriate placement that may not be that a mathematical, equation wouldn't address.
Okay.
Exactly. I personally, I don't mind the flexibility with that, but it made sense to me that the course description, that it would include, that you're looking for mentors who have a unique, what was that phrase you said?
Unique skill sets.
A unique skill set in the content area or whatever.
Yeah, an interest in. The ones who I've
Yeah,
had before
right.
that were successful, the ones who were passionate about the subject, they were interested in it. Their enthusiasm was contagious with the other
Yes.
students in the classroom. They had skills that they could help students with. Some of them weren't A+ students, but they were great mentors.
Yeah.
Okay, I will ask that and bring that back. Thank you. We are on the third bullet for CTE, Career and Technical Education. There were some changes that we're looking for in early childhood education 1, 2, 3. You'll remember that this course has been going through some transitions just because of the way that it was rolled out. And also PCC, Pima Community College, recently underwent accreditation. And so we've realigned the courses for years 1, 2, and 3, and I realized that I left out the title of the courses. I'll include that in the next memo. But for the first year of early childhood education, students will earn credit for PCC ECE 117, which is Child Growth and Development. For the second level, it's EDU 200, which is Introduction to Education, and ECE 125, Nutrition, Health, and Safety for Young Children. And then for the third and final year of the early childhood education series, they can earn credit for EDU 206, which is Relationships in Classroom Settings, and ECE 108, Literature and Social Studies for Children.
Are these are each 3 credit, 3 units at Pima? Or is each class a 3-unit class?
I think they're 3. Let me double check.
It's like, that's pretty amazing.
It's a lot.
End up with 15 college credits on graduation. It's not important, I was just curious.
I'm going to ask Andrea Tejas just to be certain on this one, and I'll bring that back. Okay, other questions on ECE? No. Okay.
So our course descriptions aren't changing, it's just
No.
what they can get credit for.
Correct.
Dual credit for at
Correct.
PCC.
Mhm.
Thank you.
Okay, let's move on then to the course description updates. Spanish 1 and 2, you've heard about the refresh that we had where we're focusing more on acquisition-driven instructions and strategies. The course descriptions were updated to emphasize the role of cultural competence as an essential component of our language program. The academic standards and the language proficiency targets for the courses are the same. They're not adjusted at all. The revised descriptions simply reflect a stronger focus on cultural understanding and real-world communication as students develop their Spanish skills. You'll see that the course descriptions are pretty similar because what we're going for, as you remember the refresh, it's the idea of when you finish with Spanish 1, we're shooting for novice high demonstration of proficiency, and Spanish 2 is going to be intermediate low. Another change that was made to a course description is a 1-sentence clarification to small ensembles, just to clarify that students who would like to begin learning an instrument or learn an additional instrument can be involved in the beginning of small ensembles. Apparently this has been going on for some time, but it wasn't stated clearly, and so the performing arts team asked to include that sentence. Fit Fusion was previously titled Cardio Fitness. I learned more about PE lexicon than ever with this one. So the standards remain exactly the same. The course title and description have simply been updated to reflect an emphasis on the term cardiorespiratory. I was told that cardiorespiratory is the overarching term. Cardiovascular is too specific for what they do in their classroom right now. So they wanted to make sure that the course description had an emphasis on cardiorespiratory and overall fitness. The updated title and description highlight varied training experience to reflect a more comprehensive and contemporary approach to fitness. They said the class is going to be taught the same way. It has an emphasis on the cardiorespiratory activities, but they wanted to take out some of the verbiage that was a bit dated, is what they called it. It was just a little bit too dated. So you'll see that it looks pretty much the same as it was before. There was, as I compare the 2025 version to the 2026 version, the activities that they mention in the new description are the same, with the exception of previously yoga was part of this class, and they explained to me that yoga, well, depending on, didn't realize this, but apparently there are different types of yoga, and not all yoga is cardiorespiratory yoga. You all must be yoga practitioners because you're all nodding. Something about hatha and ashashanka or something. I don't know what it was, but that wasn't part. they wanted to take yoga out because they wanted to make sure they were focusing on the idea of cardiorespiratory fitness and overall wellness and conditioning. Any questions about the Fit Fusion course description?
Yes, so the Fit Fusion meets the credit requirement for individual fitness. Can you remind me, there's 2 PE requirements and 1 health requirement, is that correct?
That's correct.
And then, I know there's a summer option for the health and a summer option for one of the fitness. Is it the individual fitness or is it the other one? Group.
It's the group.
Okay, so the individual fitness right now is something that has to be taken at some point at school during the school year for graduation.
Yes. Mm-hmm. Sure. I believe it was 2015.
Wow, sounds about right.
The standards, yeah, I understand, and yes, I understand. The standards have not changed at the state level. The standards remain the same. I understand, yes. Yeah, the PE team would love to jump into that right now. It carries some additional
Requirements.
requirements.
Bring it back.
Yeah,
We'll discuss.
carries some additional requirements to bring it back, or to bring it for a revision. Thank you. Last one. Lifetime Sports and Fitness. This course may be taken once per year or more with teacher approval. That's the change that they are proposing now. Previously, this course could be repeated within the same school year. A question that a board member asked was, what is the reason behind the change in allowing a repeat of Lifetime Sports and Fitness only once per year versus how we're doing it now? And it has to do with capacity. So I'm going to read the response. It's limiting Lifetime Sports and Fitness to once per year increases access by freeing up course seats for students who have completed their PE requirements but have not yet had the opportunity to enroll in this class. When space is available, teachers may still grant permission to a student to repeat the course within the same school year. But this adjustment will allow the PE department to broaden access to the course while maintaining flexibility to meet individual student needs. So the way it was explained to me is that you have a student who might be taking in their junior and senior year for the full year 4 times in 2 years the same course, while there's another student who's waiting to get into the course who's never taken it. And so they're trying to make it equitable for all students who want to access that course, while still, if there's space allowed, if you want to repeat within the same school year, we're not cutting off that option. We're just saying that you're going to have to be approved.
You go to the back of the line.
Because it's a popular course.
Okay.
And it's full. They told me it's always full. So,
Great, great.
and that's all I have.
This was a first reading, and we'll be back in 2 weeks. But for now, are there any other questions?
Just want to thank you for being so responsive to all the questions.
Sure.
You guys must hate it when the board books go out.
I love the questions.
Afraid to check your email.
Questions are good. All right, well, I will bring all of those back, the information that you want, and I'll see you in 2 weeks.
Thank you.
Thank you so much.
Thank you.
Yikes.
Item 7.1 on our agenda is a report back on the Arizona School Boards Association and the Arizona School Administrators Association Annual Conference, which took place December 17th to 19th, 2025. I believe it was Jacqueline and Tom that attended, and so we look forward to hearing all about it.
Right, well, I'll start with the delegate assembly.
Oh, how was that?
Oh,
Thank you for doing
I
it.
felt like, you know, when you see those historical movies of conventions for political parties and people are yelling and stuff, that's kind of what it felt like.
Wait, did you go in it was during the conference,
Yes,
so you say.
they were
it's
very
like-
smart this year and they put it like in the middle of
Yeah,
the day
yeah.
as opposed to the end.
Yeah, good.
So the vote for bylaws, as I'm sure you have
Yeah.
seen your emails, has been extended to March 6th.
Why?
I'm going to explain that. This caused a good deal of discussion, first and foremost, because the motion to do so was made with no context as to why it needed to be extended. So, the association lawyer was present and stated the proposed bylaw changes were passing 125 to 5 with those districts that had submitted their vote. However, the number of districts that had voted by the deadline was not enough to meet the 2/3 quorum of overall votes cast in order to pass.
It's every time.
So you had people jumping up from the audience to say, well, we would have voted yes, and but we didn't vote.
I would, but why?
Well, here's a tip.
Did they send out so many
So many
emails in
reminders, I
advance?
know.
So the association attorney stated it was legal to extend the vote. There was some discussion about why are we manipulating this process. After discussion and back and forth, the delegates voted to extend the vote. I voted no, simply because I felt deadlines are in place for a reason. And it's the responsibility of member districts to be responsible and mindful with the business before them. And any deadlines we need to meet are our responsibility. I did agree with wanting to extend the vote personally, but these are the rules, kind of thing. So that was fun.
But to clarify,
Yes,
the end result was,
that they have been
It's gotta
extended.
But we don't
Yes.
have to, it's just
We're
an
We
extension.
do
We've
not have
already
to
voted, so
revote.
we're
We
done.
are done. In fact, someone actually said from the Miranda was like, I don't think Cat Foot has voted. I said, I'm
Oh,
fairly
why would they
confident we
know?
did.
How would they know?
There was also an election of officers. Oh, this was interesting too. Armando Montero from Tempe Union High School District was elected, actually he was appointed treasurer. The person who was also interested decided not to actually go forward with it because I guess they didn't realize that Mr. Montero was going to go forward. Wendy Effing from Flowing Wells was elected president-elect, and Chris King from Vail was elected secretary. So this was interesting, and I actually talked to Chris King about this. This opened up a vacancy with the Pima County Board, as you guys were at
Yeah,
the
we were-
meeting, because where we all voted about who was going to represent us, and Chris was voted in. So now that he is taking on this other role, a call to apply for this open position at the Pima County level has already been sent out.
I didn't see that.
You didn't? I saw it.
I got it.
In a short timer, so.
Yeah.
Yeah, no,
Be happy
not
to
as, I
forward it
know,
to
but
you.
it's funny that we
Yeah,
didn't
if
get
you wanna
it.
stick
Yeah,
around
it's
for
interesting. I
another
didn't
4
get it in
years.
email.
So that was that, and like I said, I actually really enjoyed being a delegate.
Oh,
It was pretty
good.
entertaining.
How long was
Um,
the meeting?
Oh, not long at all.
Really?
No, maybe not
It's
even an
the,
hour.
it's
Really?
the legislative agenda meeting
Yeah.
that tends to go
Okay,
long.
you can do that one next and then see how much
Yeah,
you
see how
like
it's
being
funny?
in.
Actually, that was also quite interesting
It
as
is.
well, but it does tend to be
I will
longer.
say that I do have some feedback, and I gave this to Asma too. As someone who had not attended this before, they're not really great about telling you how the whole process works.
Oh, really?
Like, to the point of you actually need to go to a microphone. I had no idea
Oh.
that you couldn't make a second or anything. You had to. So I was roundly chastised for not walking up to a microphone. Had I known I needed to do that, gladly would have. Disappointed that motions can be made with no context as to why, and everyone at a table is sitting around looking at each other like, what are we doing here then? But I will say there were several veteran delegates at my table, one from Sahuarita and one from Paradise Valley, who were very helpful, provided context,
Good.
background, and walked me through the process.
That's great.
Well, if
Thank you for doing that.
If you're disappointed by recommendations made without context, you'll love the legislative agenda.
Oh.
There is nary a bit of context.
Yes.
That was a hoot.
Oh, but so
Right
many
out of the
people willing
gates.
to discuss.
Sally's up to the mic and says, I would like to do this, and why? Okay,
Interesting.
pre-conference. So Tom took a lot more notes than I did, but on the pre-conference day, at least as I was being snoopy and watching him, my big takeaway is CFSD is we should be very pleased with ourselves. We're well ahead of the curve.
Also,
What was the topic?
When
of
it comes to
pre-conference?
data, superintendents,
Oh, yeah.
yeah. When it comes to data collection, data collection was also a topic, and utilization, and how it should relate to superintendent goals, including my personal favorite, stretch goals. I love stretch goals. Of course, there's always room for growth. We can always change things, do better, more, et cetera. But it's clear I felt, as compared to other member districts, that we have a strong foundation and practice in place now. But there's always opportunities for more and different data points. There were segments on superintendent longevity with data and survey results shared. Oh, I saw you taking copious notes, so I'll let you tackle that. Predominantly, the data team was trying to understand why superintendents stay and leave. My takeaways is that turnover is a huge issue, and that, as we all know, that's bad, not just for district management, but also for students, staff, and our community as a whole. Stability and professionalism are key to building strong districts. Unfortunately, the climate in which public schools now operate is not always conducive to superintendent longevity. Dealing with constantly shifting state and federal mandates is a big challenge, as is the political rhetoric and misinformation around public education. As the board knows, as I've gained a big education in the last year, the superintendents are always on and responsible. I like to think of it's akin to that of a city manager or a CEO.
Yeah, right.
With the management of staff, a large multi-million-dollar budget, and a responsibility to the community. If you really think of it that way, we're getting a really good value, I think. Work-life balance, especially in smaller districts where the superintendent wears many hats, is a huge challenge. And there was a superintendent from a small district that spoke about all the things he did, and I thought, when does this man ever sleep? Wow, really. There was some data about the pipeline for superintendents and data points around women filling those roles. Given that the majority of our teachers are women, one might think that there would be better representation among superintendents, but that is not the case. But we are doing better than a lot of our other states. Your turn.
So did you copy mine?
No, just like free flow in here.
The only things that I would add to that, because that was an incredibly thorough overview with my compliments. I'll echo the data orientation. The kickoff was data-driven governance, guiding board decisions with metrics, and I think a lot of the discussion we've had over the last year has already brought us to that point with SMART goals, with updates, and all of the things that, to Jacqueline's point, we are ahead of the curve, especially when you do start talking to some of these other districts that don't have access to the kinds of numbers that we have, or have them but not as integrated as we do. And I know that's an area where you and the team, including Justin, have really worked. And I'd made a note here to get the ASU Helios information, and I saw that you had already handed that to Dr. Bartlett, so we've got that done. It was interesting, too, to hear just how some of the other boards work.
Always.
And
The best thing about going to these conferences is the perspective that
Right,
you
the
get,
perspective
right?
is a
About
great
how
word.
There's, yeah, so. it made me
yeah,
think of it.
no, I mean, even
Really
whether it's
valuable.
whether it's things that you go, you know, we're doing that, or we're not doing that and we should, or we're not doing that and I'm so glad we're not.
Right.
They're all,
Right.
you know, there's, because there are boards that have retreats that are designed with some ambiguous purpose in mind. One board, interestingly, had board goals that were separate from the superintendent goals.
The superintendent set the board's goals.
Apparently, right. And I wrote down, should we do this?
That was
And then
Tempe
under that I
Union
wrote
High
down,
School.
no.
That doesn't- yes.
Because if we have goals, they obviously should be communicated to you because our goals should.
But you
Your
communicate that through your self-evaluation, which we'll be doing.
Right.
That's,
And it's
that's
probably more geared toward board operations rather than
You would think so.
governance of the school district.
But no.
Really?
Not in this
Really?
case. They were things
Very
that were very.
prescriptive.
You looked at them and you were like, why is that not a
That's a
superintendent
superintendent's
goal?
goal, not a board's
Yeah.
goal.
So there was a lot of interesting conversation, and Jacqueline and I were sitting there looking at each other like, well, isn't that operations?
Yes.
And about half of the things that these folks were talking about that they do, with a level of involvement from a board member that oftentimes seemed downright inappropriate.
Yeah.
But
Smaller
that was
districts?
Smaller school districts,
school
sometimes
district?
that line's gonna blur a lot more
I mean,
too,
it
I think.
certainly in some, but it felt like it was across the board. So, yeah, and then the other point that I wrote down that what was really helpful was seeing some of the concrete things that some of the other boards and speakers were putting up. And there was one that had a matrix that they used for onboarding and also for generally reminding their board when to stay out of the superintendent's business, where there was a list of tasks and areas of responsibility with kind of a 1 through 5 rating, from superintendent has complete control, all the way through, you know, the board must be informed to the board must vote and approve. That I think was that was a helpful concrete output to say, okay, as a board member, and especially thinking ahead to newer board members, would be helpful as guidance. So
Is there a
that was-
PowerPoint on that?
I think I took a picture of it.
Okay.
Yeah. So I'll
That'd be great if I could see.
absolutely I'll send that out. Yeah, but that was from the pre-conference. Those were my main takeaways, in addition to your excellent summer.
Thank you.
Wait, there's more.
There's a lot more. So this was much better than last year.
Good.
It kicked off with a school, I just have to note this, with a school band that played Folklorico, which I am a huge fan of. There was the Folklorico dancers,
Wow.
which reminded me of my days in a TUSD school when I had to learn to do that in PE, and a singer with the band, a student singer, and she had a lovely voice.
That's amazing.
So there were multiple sessions. I'm just going to talk about 2 of them. But I attended ones on superintendent evaluations, reclaiming the narrative around public schools, chronic absenteeism, and how to combat misinformation in public schools. So the first was on chronic absenteeism. That's the first one I'll highlight. I gave Dr. Bartlett some data that was really interesting. As we likely know, the elementary school level of chronic absence remains elevated, with levels peaking during the pandemic. They have declined since, though they remain more than double the pre-pandemic levels.
Wow.
Gaps between student groups grew during the pandemic, but are not widening further. Chronic absenteeism disproportionately affected economically disadvantaged students. Probably a no-brainer, academic performance is strongly associated with attendance. All of this seems obvious, but there's data to support it. As we all know, this is a hot-button issue for the state superintendent of public education. I imagine it will continue to be. But at the high school level, chronic absence is significantly higher than early grades. Female students are far more likely to be chronically absent. Well, I can, traditional, taking care of children, younger siblings, needed on the home front kind of thing. At 11th grade, the more proficient in ELA and math a student is, the less likely they are to be chronically absent. Also seems like a new brainer to me. Yeah. Grade 12 students overall have the highest rates, also makes sense. We see the same gaps between those students with resources and those who are disadvantaged, along with academic performance gaps that we see in the lower grades. School context, not school environment, is also a factor. There were some recommendations provided on how to turn the tide for all the grades and the handouts that I gave to Dr. Bartlett. The second thing I'd like to highlight is two sessions that were very similar, but I will collapse them into one. How to reclaim the narrative around public schools and how to combat misinformation about our schools. Overall, we have to remind ourselves, I like to remind myself of this, the public supports its public schools. The majority, the vast majority of Arizona families are in public schools.
90%.
Is it still 90%?
Yes.
Even with the expansion of
Yes.
ESAs?
Because most of that expansion was not
They were people
They were
already out
already
of the
there.
system.
in
Yeah.
public schools.
So, it's a reminder, all the good that public schools do in our communities and how they really act as an anchor for families. Something that I was reminded of in one of these sessions is that as an elected official who represents my district, we are the best ambassadors for our schools. And we need to take that responsibility and role to heart. That really resonated with me. Because we were elected to do a job and support our schools. So part of our job is being present for our students and supporting our districts and schools through our actions and words. And it's more than just saying I love our schools, it's living that. Then the next morning was regarding the session on combating misinformation. This was news to me. This was fascinating. I was texted Tom, I said, I did not know about this, one of the few things I didn't know. There's a district public schools messaging campaign that is underway.
What?
Yes.
Say it again?
There is a district public schools messaging campaign that is underway.
Operated by?
I'm going to get to that. And it's about participating in the narrative around our schools and being leaders in doing so and not being passive. To that end, there's a group of Phoenix schools who have formed an intergovernmental agreement to develop and implement a public school messaging campaign.
That's great.
I have a handout. I can give you on that too. The goal is to overcome the stereotypes and negative perception around our schools. So, a story comes out in the press. If someone this happens to me every now and then, I'll be at Sam Club or wherever, and someone will say something new like, actually, no, this is what the real thing is that's going on. And how do we do that effectively? And how do we celebrate, be loud and proud of the good our schools are doing for our students and our communities? So the group has shared messaging that they've developed based on facts. And in order to educate the community as to what's going on, the districts partner with stakeholders, that could be business owners, your FFO, whoever you consider a valuable stakeholder in your community, to turn negative narratives into positive. And they involve parents. The majority of parents that they spoke to speak well of and are committed to their public schools. And this was across all various levels of public schools, socioeconomic, geographic. Parents are overall supportive of their schools. And the proof of this lends credibility. Our graduation rates, our transparency, community and economic impact of our public schools, and testimonials and stories need to be celebrated. So this got me thinking about what we're doing. And one of their recommendations is to flood the community with positivity and develop and implement a marketing plan, which we are actively doing via our superintendent's goals and associated metrics that we are tracking for engagement and our fabulous communications person. This dovetails with the data collection discussion that was part of the pre-conference sessions as well. We are very fortunate to have a director of alumni and community relations. Her continuing stories of the public school, or what we're doing in our community. Some of them, like the one on the bus, I still love that one about riding the bus, that highlight the great things that our district is doing, embodies the positivity of our public schools. So as part of this session, we had little group sessions, and they posted real things that people had said about certain public schools, and I was like, are you kidding me? And it was like, if someone says to you, is that really happening? Here's what's really happening, and let me tell you about the other great things that are happening, and did you know? So exercise on that. But we already have a wealth of things that we can draw on. So I'll let you, and then I'll talk about the awards, unless you have,
Oh, yeah, okay.
okay, we'll talk
So
about
you're
the
done
awards
with
at the
your
end.
sessions recap?
Yes.
Okay.
Please proceed.
I'll start at the end and move to the beginning because the last one I attended was very similar to that. It was building a strong foundation, how support drives student success, and this was presented by Payson. And the emphasis there was really about board members being out in the community and educating the community about the schools and the benefits of the schools. But the notes that I made on that were very similar to, it's very similar to what we're doing with, you know, that communication, driving people to Parent Square, getting those signups, establishing those channels to get the word out and making sure that's going out to the community. So it validated that. I attended a session called Commitment Day, how TUHSD, which is Tolleson, helps its students become enrolled, enlisted, and employed. And that was a really cool, you know, very concrete, we do Commitment Day and here's how we do it. And it has grown over the last few years since they've started it to where they're filling up State Farm Arena. And so they coordinate one day where they have this entire massive football field full of, at one time, colleges and military and employers for kids going direct to workforce, and have them all on equal footing, and they bring all their kids in on buses, and they've started coordinating with other local districts in the Phoenix area to say, hey, we did the hard work, we got all these people here, do you want in on this? And so there's other districts that are starting to bring their kids in, but it's a great way, and I have some handouts just that show the massive scope of this, but it's, first of all, it's communicating something that we talk about a lot, which is there's, you know, the emphasis here is on what are you doing next, not you've got to go to college, you've got to do this, you've got to do that. Success can look very different. Whatever that avenue looks like, let's make sure we've got an on-ramp for you, and that it is just really well done and well coordinated. So I thought that was a very
cool.
interesting session. And the fact that they're looking for ways to broaden that collaboration. And, you know, they're bringing in universities from all over, not just the Southwest, to be part of this. So, you know, maybe an opportunity. There was one called Northern Lights, Keeping Vision Visible All Year Long. This was Litchfield Elementary District, and they just do a really good job of something that I think we're good at, but might be able to improve on, which is they really put their aspirations for what a graduate, granted in their case it's an elementary graduate, should be able to do, and tie all of their metrics to that and push accountability through not just to the principal, not just to the teachers, but down to the students, so that it's the students who own their own success with very clear, should be able to do this, should be able to do this. And I just thought that idea of, you know, really articulating very carefully the end in mind and making sure we have support for getting there from here is something that I think we do it in a lot of ways, and it may just be that it's not as visible to us at this level, but I think it's one of those things that, hearing about the CITs, and that absolutely. So that was interesting to hear. And then the last one was building safe, adaptive, and high-impact AI classrooms. So this was Wickenburg actually presenting this, and I struggled a little with this because it wasn't Wickenburg really presenting this, it was Wickenburg in collaboration with NAU, in collaboration with some third-party software provider. And they were extremely light on detail when it came to student usage. They mentioned that they do encourage teachers to work with students to teach them how to use AI, but didn't really get into examples there. They said they would do that at next year's conference. What they did do was talk about teachers using AI. But the examples that they gave, and the reason the software person was there, basically they were saying you can use AI for things like developing IEPs. And at least for the people in the room, when they asked, does anyone use it for that? That's where most hands went up, was for that purpose. And the caution was around the amount of personal identifying information that you put out there as part of that. And the
That's a
cautions
problem.
for that. Because it can be a big deal. Now, they're selling, and yeah, so the software provider is selling something that basically is just a skin that sits on top of ChatGPT, and if you put in anything that looks like PII, it goes, this looks like PII, are you sure you want to put this out there? So it can be a nice little stopgap, but it's also something that, you know, if you have trained your teachers and admins correctly, they know not to put that out there in the first place. But they also, the other reason I bring it up is NAU does offer a course on AI in the classroom that seemed like it could potentially be helpful. So I will forward that information to you as well. But it was a little disappointing that there wasn't more like illustration of how students are or are not using AI. Those were my sessions. Those were my takeaways.
Well, so on Thursday night is when they did their awards at
awards
night,
ceremony,
with a dinner as opposed to the usual lunch. And that was nice too, because everyone was there as opposed to the last thing on Friday morning.
Right.
So just of note, Vail had a lot of recognition that evening. Was recognized with the Lou Ella Kleins Award, which recognizes exceptional leadership, service, and dedication to advancing public education in Arizona. That was for the board. They had a little video announcing the recognition and demonstrated how the board takes its role as ambassadors for the district to heart. So this board is very present in its schools. It was really fascinating to see. They go to events, they partner with the community. They're there a lot in their schools, which is a bit different from us. But what I took away from that is that they are very cohesive as a board. With the way that they wish to support their schools, even if they don't always agree, they're very aligned. And also the Vail superintendent, John Caruth, I hope I said that correctly, was also recognized as Superintendent of the Year for a medium district. Is there anything you'd like to add about video or any of that?
Just to emphasize, I mean, it was a surprising level of involvement. I know,
Yes.
you know, we as board members will go to FFO meetings and things like that, and that typically is where it ends. And they go to, if there's a book fair, if there's a, I mean, their video
Yes.
had them popping up in.
They're dressing
all
up
kinds
as
of
the
places.
Grinch and going to holiday
Yeah,
things in the kindergarten classes and stuff.
different style.
Very different.
Uh,
Face.
Yeah.
I was like, kept looking at Tom, I'm thinking, okay, I
Yes.
I was
We
kept
go to
thinking, how does the
performances, we go to
superintendent
sports
show up
events,
for all
but
of
it's
these
not-
things too?
Certainly not coordinated
Yes.
by any means.
Wow.
Yeah.
Well, great, thank you guys for attending. I'm so glad that
Yes,
it was,
worthwhile.
it seems like it has improved quite a bit.
I think
from
they took
prior
some
years
feedback.
especially.
There were a couple other sessions I was sad to have missed because they conflicted with others, especially with some proposed legislation, which we can talk about in the
Did it feel like a lot of downtime? Or, because
Yeah.
that was always
That
like,
was
that was
always
always
part
the
of the
problem in the
issue.
past, but
The first day, maybe a little, the superintendent.
pre-conference?
Yes. But no.
there weren't like long gaps of like vendor, go to the exhibit
Go to the
hall.
vendor exhibits.
No.
No,
Not
okay,
this
that's
time.
great. I'm glad, I'm really
I'm
glad
glad
to hear that.
they've
The-
taken that up.
The only, one thing I just wanted to mention, when you talked about really knowing the talking points about public schools, and I know Denise, sometimes you send out the Greg Wyman Substack articles. I subscribe to them also. He's fantastic.
Yeah,
And two of the
I mean,
sessions I attended.
Oh, was he there? Oh, that's so
Yes.
great. I mean, for anybody who it really wants to
No.
understand how public schools work and the great things we do, but also the challenges we face and why his Substack is fantastic. It's really meaty, every one of them.
Which is meaningful.
Meaty, yes,
Yeah.
Very-
very substantive. Thank you so much. Our standing item for governmental and legislative activity permits us to discuss anything that might be going on in the legislature, which I think just opened yesterday?
Governor Hobbs did her.
Yeah.
I was driving and I caught like snippets of it, but I missed the education section.
Well, I read, the transcript is on her website,
Yeah.
so I read it, I didn't hear her. But her two main issues are vouchers.
Vouchers, of course.
She's calling the, what did she call them? She called them the ESA entitlement program.
Yeah.
So she wants to bring accountability to those. And then, of course, revisiting Prop 123, and not to include constitutional protections for the ESAs
Right.
Right.
with 123.
Well, that's an interesting, I didn't hear it, but it's interesting to use the word accountability in connection with ESAs, because that doesn't mean, to me, that doesn't actually mean reduce the number of ESAs. I mean, it means.
Well, in
There's
her
no political
address-
will
Does
to
it?
reduce the numbers,
No,
but
in her address, she wants to get it back, well, she wants to get it back to what it was intended for, which were special students
Oh,
with
she
special.
does, she did say that.
which
Oh,
she
good,
did,
I'm glad to hear that.
Which were students with special
Okay.
needs and other,
I think another thing that was mentioned was reducing the amount that I guess would be true homeschooled students receive as well, down
and
to
a means
2,000.
test as well. Wasn't there a means test that she's advocating for as well? So, like phasing out at different levels of income for families.
Oh, yes.
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 Means test is the
Yes,
wrong word,
okay.
but that's kind of what I was getting at. And I know
Yes.
that that was part of it, because I did catch that snippet before I had to miss the rest of it.
So we'll wait to see what's
We'll wait and see what
happen.
happens.
Like, as I've said previously, from what we've been told is there's not a lot of money to,
Right.
$67 million.
right, $67 million is what we're dealing with, and that's not a lot of money to make a lot of improvements.
No.
We've been told that probably, of course, the funding formula is 2% or the inflation rate percentage, whichever is less.
Right.
Yeah.
And we're assuming that the 2% will be less, so that's what we're expecting for new money
Yeah.
from the state. Nothing more than that.
More than that?
There's also been a number of bills that were pre-filed before the
Yes.
session started. Some of them, it's funny because one of the sessions that was ending as I walked in was about ESA students attending, being able to try out for public
Right.
school teams
Right.
and stuff. And one of the
At no
participants said,
cost.
At no cost.
yes,
Right.
that
course.
this will likely be legislation proposed, and sure enough,
Sure.
There it is.
It's not just sports, classes too, without payment. Yes.
Because it doesn't cost us anything to do this. Okay. Well, I guess we have a veto for another year at least. Anyway,
So it'll be an interesting
Interesting
legislative session,
session.
if nothing else.
Right.
well, it'll go quickly because, well, yeah,
Nothing's
so
gonna
that they
get
can
hearings.
campaign.
Right,
Yes.
right.
hopefully anyway.
All right. Anything else under this agenda item? Okay. Agenda planning tomorrow is me and Tom
Yes.
at noon.
We have it for noon, but we can make it at 10 if you prefer. No, maybe that's fine.
My request
need to
was for
sleep in.
noon.
Okay, so noon it is.
Is noon okay?
Noon's fine.
Okay, in person? Yeah,
Okay.
that's what I thought. Okay, so that's agenda planning. And if there's no further business, then I will entertain a motion to adjourn.
I move that we adjourn.
I'll second.
Thank you. There's been a motion and a second to adjourn our first meeting of 2026. All those in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
Aye. Opposed?
He's out already.
Motion carries 5-0. Good night, everyone. Thank you.
Good meeting, thank